Okay, first thing about fractions, don't get frightened by them. There's a few new words to remember, but not too many. Start off with, a fraction has a top bit and a bottom bit. So there's a number at the top and there's a number at the bottom. The top bit is called the numerator. Okay, it's the number at the top. The bottom bit is called the denominator. It's the thing at the bottom. So there's a top bit and a bottom bit. Here's an example. 4/5, 4/5. The top bit is the numerator, the bottom bit is the denominator. Don't worry about this. If you need to, just call them the top and the bottom. But try and remember numerator, number at the top. Numerator, number at the top. If you can remember that, you'll remember the other one's the one at the bottom. An example question you might get with a fraction is, what is 3/4 of 20? Okay, easy done. You multiply the 20 by the numerator and you divide it by the denominator. Multiply by the numerator, divide by the denominator. So multiply by the top bit, divide by the bottom bit. 20 times 3, that's easy, that equals 60. 60 divided by 4, you should know that, it's 15, and there's your answer. 3/4 of 20 is 15. Here's another example. What is 5/7 of 28? Remember, multiply by the top bit, the numerator, divide by the bottom bit, the denominator. 28 times 5, 140. 140 divided by 7 is 20, and that's the answer. So multiplication is always times by the top bit, divide by the bottom bit. Sometimes, however, it's better to do the division first, if that division is easier. In the example we've just done, it's probably easier to do the 28 divided by 7 first. We should know that. It's part of the 7 times table, it's part of the 4 times table. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. We get the same answer, but I think you'll agree that that division and that multiplication were easier than the previous ones. So, as well as numerator and denominator, there's another new word to learn, and that's equivalent. Equivalent means the same. So, equivalent fractions are fractions that might look different but are actually the same value. Let's have a look at a very, very simple example. Let's take two squares, both the same size. The first square we're going to cut into a half. The second square we're going to cut into quarters. I think you'll agree both squares are still the same, they're just divided in different ways. Now if we take half of each of those squares, we'll see something quite interesting. If we take the first square, then obviously 1/2 is a half of that square. We've got two pieces, we're going to have one of them, so we're going to have 1/2. If we take the second square, we're going to take 2/4 to get the same amount of the square, because the square was divided into 4s. So we can see very clearly that 1/2 is the same as 2/4. So 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent fractions. I'm sure that you can think of many other different examples. 1/10 is the same as 10/100, for example. We can change a fraction into its equivalent fractions by either multiplying the top and the bottom numbers by the same value, or, if they're already large numbers, dividing them by the same number. In each case, as long as we end up with integers, then we're going to have a fraction. In a later video you'll see how to convert a fraction so that the numerator and denominator are the lowest integer they can possibly be, while still remaining the equivalent fraction to the one that you started with. We'll look at that later. For now, all you need to really remember is that fractions aren't scary. They're two numbers, one on top of the other. The top bit is called the numerator, the bottom bit is called the denominator, and we can work with them, multiply them, divide them very, very simply.